Today we will be talking about getting your super back after you leave Australia.
We got our DASPs this week, so we figured it's a good time to talk about how to get your super back after you leave Australia. We're going to talk about what a DASP is, how to claim it, and how much we got back. So superannuation is a mandatory and government implemented retirement plan fund that you definitely do have regardless of what kind of job that you worked or what your resident status was when you were living in Australia.
If you made more than $450 a month and you were paying tax, you've been making contributions towards your super, whether you know it or not. Hopefully you already know that you've been putting money into this each month.
When you were hired, you were likely asked if you already had your own super fund or if you wanted to contribute to the designated super fund that's set up by your employer. But like Nick said, if you have been making more than $450 a month in Australia, you have one. And regardless, if you're not planning on retiring in Australia, then you are not going to need it. So when you leave Australia, you are welcome to claim that money back. You don't get to claim your whole super back, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So what you're chasing is a payment, and that's called a DASP. And the DASP stands for your Departing Australia Superannuation Payment. So who can claim a DASP?
Any temporary resident leaving country can claim their DASP, which is great because people like us who were working holidaymakers during our stay, we can claim that money back or a portion of it. All of the following must apply to you, and this is straight off of the Australian government website. Number one, you are not an Australian or New Zealand citizen or a permanent resident of Australia. Number two, you entered the country on a temporary visa. Number three, you've already departed Australia, so yes, that means that you have already left the country. And number four, your visa is no longer valid in Australia. So all of these things have to apply to you.
I think it's something like if you were a foreign resident in Australia back to 1994, you're still eligible to collect your super contributions that were made under your name. It's important to note that if you're moving to New Zealand from Australia, this doesn't apply to you. Once you've moved to New Zealand, you can transfer all your super funds into a KiwiSaver account or keep it in your Australian super account. Although we don't have any experience with this because we didn't move to New Zealand after. But I just wanted to point that out before you continue watching this video and then realize that this does not apply to you. Accessing your DASP is your legal right and you are entitled to that cash, so let's talk about now how to get that money back.
As per the Australian government website, there are 3 steps to claiming your super once you have left Australia. The first step you should take is check your temporary visa status. If you're not sure if your visa has expired, you can check your visa expiry date online. The second thing that you can do is cancel your temporary visa.
So if you decide to leave the country while your visa was still active, you have 2 options, and the first one is to wait until your visa expires to then try to claim your DASP, which is what we did. Or if you don't want to wait, you can actually cancel your visa altogether. So you can request this through the Department of Immigration and Border Protection, and you can do that all online. Canceling your visa is free, but of course once you cancel it, you can't come back because it's canceled. I think that should be obvious, but we should say it anyway. You basically just fill out a form and you lodge that online before you can go through the application for the DASP.
The third thing you have to do is just apply for your DASP.
So you can either do this independently or with a company, like a tax company like TaxBack. We did it independently and we don't recommend going through a company like TaxBack, only because, and we're going to talk about this soon, but your super is going to be heavily taxed already, so you're already losing a lot of that money that you put towards your super. And then companies like TaxBack also charge like another 20% or something for their fee to do it. And to be completely honest, doing the form is pretty easy as long as you have all the information, and a lot of it's personal information, so you should have it anyway. So we recommend doing this on your own, and all you have to do is fill out a form on the website. Of course, we're going to put the link here, like we've been putting links throughout the entire video. They're all going to be down in the description, so hopefully you're watching and not just listening to us right now.
So before you start filling out your form, you're going to need to provide a few things. Obviously your name, your date of birth, some more personal details, an email address, your passport number, and your Australia tax file number, or TFN. You're going to also need your super account's details, including your super fund's Australian business number, or an ABN, and your member number.
This information can be found online when you're accessing your super account. So Nick set up his super account independently, and then I went with my super account that was set up through my work. Although my work still gave me like a pretty comprehensive document with all the details on it. So If you're still in Australia and you're watching this video before you leave, make sure that you have that information from your work if you didn't set up your own. Otherwise, you'll just be able to log into your member account and all that stuff should be in there. But yeah, like Nick said, make sure that you have all of this information before you start filling out the form. Otherwise, you're gonna have to return back to it a million times and be frustrated about it. So just have it all ready.
You will also need to attach a certified copy of your visa or any kind of evidence showing that your visa has expired or has been cancelled, and also a copy of your passport.
And then this is where you choose how you receive the payment of your super. So it can either be by check or direct deposit to your Australian bank account. Yes, your Australian bank account. So make sure you don't close your Australian bank account before you leave. We kept ours open because we knew about this, but at the same time we decided that we wanted a check anyway, because we didn't want to go again through the transfer fees of transferring from our Australian to our Canadian. And we realized it would always take a while to clear anyway, so in this case, we just personally asked for a check. For some supers, I believe that there's an option to do an international money transfer. For both of us, that was not an option, so that is something that we don't have any experience with, although we have heard that other people have done this as well. So once you've completed all that information, you put in all your personal details, your TFN, all that kind of stuff, your passport and your visa, and then how you want your money back, then you just lodge the form online.
So a big question that you might be wondering is, how much will I get back? That was my first question. This is going to be a different answer for everybody because your superannuation contributions are a percentage of your wage, and it really depends on how much you have been contributing and for how long. Claiming your super is free. However, you're not going to get the full amount back because it is heavily taxed, as we've said.
If you were a working holidaymaker and your DASP is processed after July 1st, 2017, then your super fund is going to be taxed at a rate of 65%. If you process it before July 1st, 2017, then it's taxed at 38%. So yes, the percentage is high, no matter when you claimed it, but obviously the 65% hurts. That said, you're still going to get a substantial amount of money back, so it's still worth claiming. And again, like I said earlier, it's your money and your right to claim it, so you should really claim it anyway.
Once you lodge your application for your DASP, it takes 28 days. For us, we lodged our applications and we received an email back right away, and it took about a month for them to come back in the mail, so ours was pretty fast, fortunately.
So Nick's return was $499 and mine was $578.
Beating me everywhere, man. Super.
I made more money than Nick.
So bull.
So just to put it into perspective, we lived in Australia for just over half a year, but we were only working there for like 5-6 months. So it's still a nice little bit of money, and if you were staying there for a year and say you made even more than we did, then your super can come in at $1,000 or more.
All the advertisements are like, there's over like $5 million in unclaimed superannuation funds.
That's true.
I always see them, so people don't claim them a lot. So definitely claim it because that's just money sitting there, and it's not.
It's your money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your money, so get it.
As always, you can reach out to us on Not Lux if we missed anything and you have any questions for us. And yeah, stay healthy, good luck, and we'll see you in the next video.